All right, YouTube, back again with another video, and the plan is to build some new stuff, patch some stuff up, because I'm gonna have my housewarming party next weekend, and hopefully we can finish up the rock lights on the truck. So I've already started digging out for, I'm gonna have a square fire pit right here, right off the back of the house, because eventually the deck will be bigger. Concrete pad around the fireplace, around the fire pit is eventually the plan. So I'm gonna dig down a little bit more. So I'm gonna put cinder blocks in the sand, and then I'm picking up the stone and brick Saturday morning. So instead of wasting bricks, you know, in the dirt, I'll put concrete cinder blocks down there, level them all out, and then just bury the first block down just a little bit, and then it'll look a little bit like, the blocks go all the way down, but I'm not wasting a bunch because the cinder blocks I'm gonna get for free. So I'll sit down under the grass line and then just work out, save me a little bit of money, and we'll eventually get this tire moved out of here and clean that stuff up that's up under it. But first thing I'm gonna go ahead and, or not first thing I'm gonna start this fire over, get some stuff burning so I can burn that rubber stuff under there later when it gets a little darker, and dig this down another, you know, probably 4 inches around, and then all the sand and stuff that's left over, I'm gonna eventually put it inside the cinder blocks around, kind of lock them all down in there and kind of get rid of it, and then the rest I'll spread out, fill some low spots in the yard and whatever else not. But I'm gonna start that fire and dig this down just a little bit more. All right, so I got the fire going, stuff getting burned, dug this down a little bit more, just put a little bit of sand in the middle, move that tire over there in the corner, got the other stuff, that rubber stuff, and I'll burn this tarp over there in a second. But now you walk in the garage, you guys see what it's looking like. And what I need to do is, first things first, I'm gonna get these tires, my old tires for my truck, moved into the wood barn, just store them back there, clean this stuff up, and this stuff needs to get moved into the attic. But I think I'm gonna wait on that, but I'm gonna move these into the wood barn, get that stuff getting burned, bring a piece of plywood in here and cut it. I need to just patch up the top of that one step for the party so nobody falls through the floor right there. All right, so we got all the cinder blocks put in and all the sand around it compacted, and compacted a bunch of the sand inside the blocks. So now they're perfectly square and they're all level. And we're gonna load up the little buggy here and put first course down, make sure they all sit right, and then we'll start gluing them as we go up. All right, so I got my buddy recording right now, but everything is glued. We're 5 courses high, and I just took a little bit of sand and built it up a little bit. We'll do a little more raking and cleaning it up a little. When everything's glued, we might go one more taller. We don't know yet, but he can show you the inside. It's all perfectly square. Even if he steps far back, you can just look down and the thing is perfectly straight. For the fire pit, we used about, I think 70 bricks is what I counted. There's 5 rows of 14. So about 70 bricks there. We have 50 something bricks left over, which I think will be enough for when I do my mailbox in the front. I'll pour a little concrete pad and then build a mailbox and put up a box and everything inside of it. But that will end up happening later on. So now I'm gonna go through, unload the rest of that pallet inside the wood barn just to store it for the time being. But all right, now we're gonna go, I got some stuff to do in the bathroom, put a new P-trap, and then make some trim, temporary trim, just so it looks a little better for the party next week. So we'll go in the house and go ahead and do that. Okay, so we got the trim and the P-trap and stuff installed in the bathroom. So now we're going to, I just put all this pine there for now. I didn't miter any of the corners or nothing. I literally just put it up to fill in a gap because it looked bad. Literally just for next weekend, and then after next weekend, tearing the bathroom apart. And basically everything that I get, or save I should say, from this bathroom, the other bathroom, is what I'm gonna use in the garage bathroom. So I'm not really spending that much money. The only thing I really spend money on is some plumbing stuff and like tiling the shower. If I go to that route right away, probably just put a toilet and a sink in there in the start, and then maybe put a shower later on. Probably never, who knows, but whatever. But this is all done. Got just a little bit of trim everywhere, just so it looks a little cleaner. I can't even get that piece of trim out back there, so that's still like this old style of trim. But eventually, the trim in the bathroom and the rest of the house will eventually be the same idea of being a 1x4 cedar that I'm gonna stain and seal, and then that will be everywhere. All the doors, the top, like everything in the house will eventually be that exact same look. So we'll probably start with that in this bathroom, and then when I go to redo the other bedroom, that's where most of it will happen also. So that entire side of the house will have the exact same trim as this bathroom does. All right, I know I said I was gonna be working on the rock lights on the truck, but I got a little coolant leak, so I'm gonna try to find out where it's at. It's somewhere back there. It's leaking like on the ground back right here somewhere. So I really need to figure out where that's coming from. Hopefully it's not a head gasket or something like that. I really hope that's not the problem. But first thing we're gonna do is I have a new like heat and AC control. Is my address ain't on there? No. For the red truck, since the one I bought, I don't know, it ain't working right. So I'm gonna take it out and return that one and just keep the one I bought, because right now there's just no heat in this truck at all, and then you can't even use nothing on here. So I want to replace that first, and I probably have to put a blend oil in this thing or something. We'll see. But first thing I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna go ahead and take this out and put the new one in, see if I can get that working. All right, so for the red truck, I put that new piece in, and it's still not getting power. It's getting power, but none of the lights are lighting up. So I think it's a wire problem. I checked all the fuses and whatever else not. So I don't know, that I have to look into this a little more. But I'm not gonna be driving this truck no more without heat, because I drove these past couple days and it's been as low as -5. I was driving this truck around. Terrible. Never doing that again. But for the Denali, at 2 pieces that could be the problem. I got the tool and everything that's changed oil. So that's the plan, to get that all done today. You also need to get that wheel liner put in. Just started a fire in the garage, so hopefully get a little warmer in here. It's like 40 degrees in here, so it's not too bad. But first things first, try to get this coolant leak fixed on the truck. All right, the coolant leak should be fixed now. I got the oil draining right now, but that hose off to the right there, when I went to go grab it, I just pulled it right off. It was already loose, so I believe that's why it was leaking. And this is the end that was on it. I tried to push it right back on, but I couldn't get it to go on. And then actually one of the parts that I did buy, the same one that I fixed my brother's with, this part, I was able to, that one I just went up, pushed right on all the way, I wasn't able to pull it off. So I just took the hose off this end, and put it on that other side, and put the hose clamp back on. It's way down up in there. I put a little lube on there to get it going on, just because the nipple side was a little bit thicker, but it's on there now. And I got the oil draining, still draining. I'm going to pull the oil filter off now real quick and knock that out, because that should not take too long. Or let that drain and do the fuel filter also. Still let the little bit of oil drip out the pan. So the truck has not ran in days, so I let it idle up, get to, you know, some type of operating temperatures. And I still made sure that fitting wasn't leaking while the truck was running. And I just had a bunch of smoke coming off my downpipe just from that leaking, and it was all in the heat wrapping. But change this oil, or pull this fuel filter or oil filter off, and then I got all new stuff here. Got a fuel filter in the box also. So take the camera back up in a couple minutes here. All right, the truck has moved over here. Fuel filter changed, oil filter changed, oil changed. It's leaking a little bit because I spilled a ton of oil on the top. Pouring in, I wasn't paying attention. overfilled a little bit. So that's gonna leak out a little bit. I'm gonna end up driving this truck tomorrow. Just moved everything out of it that I need out of this truck. So I'm not gonna drive this thing unless I absolutely have to with no heat. It sucks. Especially right now, it is very, very cold. Actually, today it's not that bad. For the past couple days, it has been extremely cold. And I've been driving this for the past like 4 or 5 days. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Sucked. But it is what it is. So I'm gonna be driving this to work tomorrow. Probably drive this for a couple days, maybe all the way until Christmas time. And then we'll be putting the lift on, driving around with the lift, and then get a powder coat in the springtime. What the plan is so far. But this thing is gonna need a detail on the inside, and after I drive it around with the oil leaking, it's leaking from the top, and it's gonna leak down to where the front drive shaft is. So, oh my god, there's a dent in my hood right there. Holy smokes. Big old dent in my hood. Pop this open. Alright, so it's leaking down like somewhere like right here. So it's gonna leak right on the drive shaft. The drive shaft's gonna spin it everywhere. So it's just gonna be a big old mess, but just have to clean it up as it goes. Or as it happens. It is what it is at this point. There's a huge dent in the hood. I definitely did that. That was not there when I bought the truck. Maybe it was actually. It's creased too. It's pretty damn bad. That's probably gonna wrap up this video. I'm gonna end up checking the oil again in the morning. Make sure it's not leaking in the morning if it is, or something's wrong. God forbid. Take the work car. But I don't think nothing is wrong, so I'm gonna wrap up this video here. I know I was supposed to do the rock lights and stuff, but life happens and maintenance needs to be done. But thank you for watching this video. Hope to see you in the next one.